And get started. Wonderful. Thank you all for being here and welcome to Doughnut Economics on the local level. My name is Kirsten and I'm based in Santa Cruz and I'm with the Wellbeing Economy Alliance, California. I am really excited about today's conversation, which will explore an important model for how cities can meet everyone's needs while staying within the planet's ecological boundaries and limits. So, Doughnut Economics is a framework to do just that. And when we think about kind of the fundamental currency of life, the energy and materiality of what Earth provides, how can we use energy and materials in more of a life-affirming way so that it doesn't disrupt the delicate balance of the ecosystems and the planetary boundaries that help to maintain the life support system that we have here on Earth? The founder of the Doughnut Economics Framework, Kate Raworth, is an Oxford economist, and I think I heard her at one point say, "We must take care of the place that takes care of our offspring," which really struck me and resonated with me in a deep way. And at the Wellbeing Economy Alliance, we believe that supply and demand is based on values. It's what we choose to measure, what we choose to call success. Um, I know that business schools and urban planning and architects and doctors are all starting to use the Doughnut Economics Framework, and it's being incorporated into economics classes, which is really cool. And that I've heard is primarily driven by students who are really coming at this with a different expectation of what the economy should be doing for us. And that's really promising to me. So I think we are all, starting to see and experience the true cost of an economy that serves only GDP growth. And so I thank you all for being here today because it shows how many of us are really thinking seriously about how to create a post-growth world. And with I think more than 70 communities, maybe more, implementing the Doughnut Economics Framework now, it's a really awesome opportunity to hear from three of them. So I'm thrilled to introduce Lisa, Kyle, and Amelia, who are at various stages of implementing the Doughnut Framework in 3 Bay Area communities. They're going to share, as I mentioned, a presentation with updates from their efforts. And after their presentation, we will be taking questions and so feel free to later raise your hand for questions. And if you do want to put questions in the chat, that's fine. We'll try to read them and catch them. So with all of that, I will turn it over to Lisa to get us started.
Thank you, Kristen. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Can everybody see okay? Great. So I just wanted to give a little bit more information about the way that we're going to present our work today. And my name is Lisa, and I am from the San Jose team. And we have 3 different California cities that are approaching the Doughnut. And the Santa Cruz Doughnut, which will be presented by Amelia, she's kind of in the beginning stages. She's forming a team and building tools. So she'll present that stage of working with the Doughnut in her city. And then Kyle is doing more research and community convergence, kind of a little bit further along in his process. And he will be presenting his work in San Francisco. And then I will be presenting our work. We've already created our Doughnut graphic, which is our snapshot, and we're using that to move us into action. So that's the way we're going to kind of create the through line for our information that we're going to present to you. And we'll start out with Amelia giving some information about CalDEC, which is the California Doughnut Economics Coalition.
Thanks, Lisa. Oh, it looks like maybe there we go. Hi, everyone. I'm Amelia. I joined CalDEC in November of 2025, which was also the month that the California Doughnut Economics Coalition published the California Doughnut. So this was a year and a half to 2 year long process of evaluating over 200 indicators. And indicators are data points that let us know how we're performing in all of these different categories. So this inner ring that you see here, if you've never encountered economics before, this is the social foundation. And there are about 12 categories of the different things that people need to survive and thrive. And an indicator, CalDEC uses two indicators per category, which are data points that let us know if we're meeting people's needs or if we're in shortfall. And then you have the ecological ceiling, and similarly, we have indicators there that let us know how we're doing. And currently, ozone depletion is the only category in the entire donut that we are not currently in shortfall or overshoot. We just launched a new website, so you can visit our website at caldec.org and you can actually click on the different categories of the donut and interact with the categories and see the data and what our approach was to doing the California donut. This is now we have people in CalDEC who work for the governor's office who are working to implement the donut on a state governance level and to prioritize state budgets according to what the donut has illuminated. So highly encourage you to visit caldec.org to explore the California donut further. And if you're interested in joining a regional group, of which there are like 6 or 7 now, you can fill out a form on our website and sign up to join one of those groups. So I am the CEO and co-founder of Wonderfill. We make, you can see on the bottom here, a picture of one of our autonomous refill stations. They are refill stations for refilling liquid and cream products to reduce plastic waste, and we have them in Whole Foods and universities across California. My focus is on reducing waste and circular economy. And so I had the opportunity to write a children's book with National Geographic with my co-author, Sharona. And that is a story about where our trash goes when we throw it away, told through the perspective of raccoons. I learned about donut economics in college, and like I said, I joined CalDEC very recently, but it is something that I've been passionate about for a long time. I think it's a great alternative model to GDP for evaluating how our economy is performing. And since joining CalDEC, I have started to lead the creation of the donut in the city of Petaluma and in Santa Cruz County.
Thanks, everyone. So definitely honored to represent collective work of many, I'd say, regenerators across the Bay Delta bioregion where I'm from. I'm a third generation local. So I got parents, grandparents all over the place here, where I've evolved from bioengineering to systems integrator to asset management. So in that experience, I saw how our critical US infrastructure and systems are actually designed to fail, and they're haunted by administrative red tape and extractive profits that ignore our actual health. So uh, I'm excited to talk to you today. So about past 5 years, I've been donateering. I stopped optimizing these sinking ships and have been co-creating what I'm calling like a succession portfolio here in the Bay Area as my home. So one being a transformation office to turn donut findings into fundable impact ventures. So that clears the red tape and then applying regenerative design to transform a 120-acre conventional farm in the San Joaquin Valley, and then also piloting a food and health cooperative business along the Carquinez Strait to bring sovereignty to some of the most impacted communities in the Bay Area. So this is what donut economics means to me. And I'm thankful to the San Francisco team for their support in co-creating all this. And I'll pass it to a fellow regenerator, Lisa.
Thank you, Cal. So my name is Lisa, and most importantly to me, I'm a mom, and I have two amazing children, and I live in downtown San Jose. I'm a permaculturalist also, and I have my own design firm, Botany of Design. Um, and I'm a landscape architect, and I also got a degree in psychology and philosophy, and I'm continuing my education with uh, studying with Green Foothills, Santa Clara County Climate Stewards, and I'm currently now studying our water system through Valley Water's Ambassador Program. And these are all kind of different aspects of the donut. But it's very important and on our team that we think about community a lot. And so I wanted to highlight our team contributors. Della got probably all three of our projects started, and she's refers to herself as a renegade economist, and she hosts the Upstream podcast. And Dave, who is also with CalDEC, and he's a retired teacher, and he really makes sure that we operate under a sociocracy framework. We also have experts in transportation, global health global health research, and farmers, nonviolent Medicaid, Army, health equity, bioinformatics, cheminformatics, tech experts. We have a San Jose Youth Climate Commissioner on our team, and members from Japantown working on democracy and just developing community, to name a few of the levels of expertise that we have. So Kirsten went a little bit over what donut economics is, and I often personally hear that it's a confusing format. And after studying it for probably 6 or so years, I feel like I'm still learning a lot of new things about it. So this graphic that you see here is kind of the basic snapshot of what we use when we're doing our research. And if you look at the inner part of the rings, you'll see that that's our social foundation, and it's developed based on the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And these are the basic needs that that everybody has to live a good life. And on outside of the outer rings are the planetary boundaries. And so we want to meet our basic needs, but not exceed the planetary boundaries. And this graphic, which we call a snapshot, is a model, and it's a way of measuring. We can also use it for policy when we're talking to our leaders, and a visual, so you can look at it and you can see how well is the community doing when ideally we would stay within the safe and just space for humanity. And when we're not meeting our needs or exceeding our planetary boundaries, you'll see red on the graphic, and that means that we are exceeding our planetary boundaries and not meeting our needs. And so really we're moving away from looking at GDP as success. And we're moving closer toward maturity and thriving. So as you see in nature, you don't see anything endlessly growing. You see that grows to maturity, and then we are in healthy environments. We then thrive. And we recognize what David Attenborough, one of my heroes, and who will tomorrow turn 100 years old, he talks about GDP as what felt like a miracle in the modern age was just stealing. We have taken everything that we have directly from the living world, and I would say even from our children and from future generations. And we have done this while ignoring the damage we have been doing. And so what we like to think about with donut economics is that the economy is embedded, and the economy is indeed consisting of 4 different elements. That's the household, the state, the commons, and the market. And that economy is within a thriving society. and the society is not subject to the economy, but really the economy has to serve a healthy society. And then the society has to live within the boundaries of a healthy ecosystem within the earth. So that's kind of a quick overview of what donut economics is. And Amelia is going to talk about kind of the beginning stages of forming a city donut in Santa Cruz.
Thanks, Lisa. So the creation of a regional donut group can happen in a lot of different ways. The Petaluma group formed because two of our members did a speaking engagement, and a city council member of the city of Petaluma was at that talk and reached out to CalDEC and said, hey, we're working on Petaluma's general plan, and I think that the donut could be a really useful communication tool for our community to really show all of this disparate work that's currently being done in the city and bring it all under one model. And so I am now working on a group with Dave in CalDEC and one other volunteer to help sort of bring all of the work that was already done for the Petaluma general plan into the donut framework. So that's one way that it can happen, is someone can reach out directly to CalDEC, and then we'll form a group for that region and work with the city directly. And then Santa Cruz happened in a little bit more of a grassroots way. I was just mentioning that I was passionate about donut economics and all of my different networking events and opportunities with like-minded people, and found out that a lot of other people were interested in the donut as well. And so we sort of organically formed a group and brought this idea to the city, and are now working on implementing it and working with different experts in town who work on all of these different categories of the donut. So I would say if you're interested in forming a regional group, there are a lot of ways to go about that, but would highly recommend reaching out to CalDEC to just see if there's anyone already involved in the organization who is based in that region, and we can help. And then also doing a speaking engagement where you're educating people in your community about donut economics is also a really great place to start. So our method for developing the donut in both Petaluma and Santa Cruz started by selecting our indicators. So we first looked to public data. We did not want to really come to any of the stakeholders with just sort of a blank slate. We wanted to really leverage a lot of the work that had already been done by the county or the city. So in Petaluma, the general plan, and then in the county of Santa Cruz, there's just a ton of public data out there that relates directly to these categories. And we filled out this spreadsheet that has two separate sheets, one for the social foundation, one for the environmental ceiling, and we also referenced the DEAL is Donut Economics Action Lab. That's the global donut group. They have an indicator library. And so we looked through those indicators and we tried to find data points that were as close to the indicators as possible. And there's a lot of consistency between data points that are being measured across all different regions and counties and states. And then we identified gaps where we couldn't find public data. And that's what you're going to see here highlighted in yellow. And then with this draft, you can go to the next slide, Lisa. We fed that to a tool that one of our group members made, which allows it does all of the data visualization. So it takes the data from the spreadsheet and makes it into a donut. So this is just the first page of the dashboard. This is also very much a work in progress, so it's not very pretty yet, but it is very, very useful. And part of our goal in the Santa Cruz Donut Group is to build tools in a method that is very, very repeatable and makes the barrier to entry very low for other regions to build the donut. So we feed it to this data tool, and then you can go to the next slide, Lisa. And then it does a data gap analysis. So it, like you saw that those yellow highlighted portions, that is also reflected. And sorry, what I'm showing now is for the Santa Cruz donut, and my original thing was for Petaluma. So it's not a perfect representation, but for Santa Cruz, we had a lot of public data to work off of, mostly because we were working on the county level and city level. And so there's a lot of county level data. And you can go to the next slide, Lisa. It has all sorts of tools on it for evaluating sort of like the staleness of the data. There's a lot of different aspects of the data that we can really dig into using this tool. Next slide. And then once we have a good idea of what gaps there are, and also who are the experts at the county level or the city level who are already working on this, we reach out to them for their input. So we say, hey, we notice that you work on housing, or insert whatever category. We're working on the donut. We give them a little background on the donut, and we say, these are the indicators that we would like to use to measure housing affordability and accessibility, or water quality, or whatever the category is. Could we meet? Could you provide input on these indicators? Is this a data point that you use to measure your own success? And that enables us to engage with experts and stakeholders, educate them on the donut, make them feel like they're part of the project. This is a really, really important part of the process. And the stakeholders and experts that we reach out to so far are really excited to be involved. Next slide. And then the intention here, right, is to use the expert feedback to make this donut dashboard as accurate as possible. And another really cool functionality of the dashboard is you can click on the category, and then it elaborates on it on this right panel, and it has this ways to get involved. And that's another piece of feedback that we ask from the stakeholders and the experts who are working on each of these categories, is we ask them to recommend ways that people can get involved, like what are initiatives that are underway right now. And so we want this to be like a really easy way for people to check on what's going on, whatever they're interested in, they can click on that and see what's happening in real time in their region. And ideally, these are hyperlinks, so you can click and it'll take you to the website or whatever the most recent touch point is with that group to get involved directly. Next slide. Another really powerful component of this dashboard is it allows you to compare different donuts. So we've actually collected data from the county of Santa Cruz, and then the city of Santa Cruz, and then the city of Watsonville, which is in Santa Cruz County. And you can see the really stark differences between the health of Watsonville's economy and environment and Santa Cruz is in the same county. So when we present this to county officials and we're talking about prioritization, we really want to make sure that we're really, putting in a lot of effort into both engaging the community, engaging stakeholders around Watsonville, and putting a lot of our, funds and energy into the communities that need it most. Thank you all. Also, just wanted to mention that these are tools that are totally open source and able to be used by anyone. And so if you're interested in building a donut and utilizing them, reach out, and would love to train you on how to use the dashboard creation tool and share our spreadsheets and things like that. And handing it over to you.
All right, thank you. So kind of moving up the coast into San Francisco, we kicked off as a small group. Della, who was mentioned, who kind of was the founding member of CalDEC, doing the California Doughnut. She lives in San Francisco, so that was a natural spot to kind of seed that. And then Rebecca, who owns Trellis right in the middle of San Francisco, has a climate co-work space. So, she wants a donut there, and then a bunch of other experts kind of kicked it off. There's Indy with the donut hat, who is a master of community gathering, ecological steward, and a man of many things, and mentor. So that's how we started. We did a monthly meetup, so we just kind of invited whoever we knew to learn more, and we're doing that on a monthly basis just to kind of do a donut 101. And then we were meeting weekly. We're doing like weekly volunteer sprints to build a kind of minimal viable donut was our initial goal. And then if you go to the next slide, we started off by putting together a simple project plan just to kind of orient each other on what we were trying to do and who would do what, and get everyone's contact information, that kind of stuff. We started just researching, and then since we're in the Silicon Valley, naturally we thought of how could we kind of ethically use technology. So instead of searching hundreds of times to find different reports. So I see one comment in there asking about the types of data. So we're looking at climate reports, municipal reports, private reports. There's citizen journalism. There's just a wide variety of reporting that has done this. And there's already a lot of great work creating indicators, discussing indicators, data around it. So finding that is difficult, but with the technology, if you can kind of really create a prompt, the right prompt around these things, which is what we spent some time on, kind of perfecting a prompt to at least help us gather resources that we could check as humans. So kind of built a human in the loop type of technology process to get an initial set of large indicators, which we reference the global indicators. Like Amelie said, there's like over 2,000 now across all kind of global donuts. So kind of compared what we found to the global ones, and kind of worked our way through to create a data portrait of all this data. Open source, you can see all of it there. And if you go to the next one, so by creating a guidebook for volunteers and us to do the research, we arrived at just an initial donut. We used a visualizer from the Deal website to put in all the data. And then if you go to the next one, so then at our monthly meetings, we actually just began, polling the community and people that are showing up to learn more, to see if these metrics, if they are accurate to them, or what kind of discussion they have. So we tried putting an indicator together who. You can see there's a dimension. So in this case, there was a discussion around income and work. We found an initial metric to just start the conversation and collaborate on like a vision for income and work, a target for it, and then even using this barcode up there, using a technology called Polis, which is like a digital town square. So it's a democratic tool to track people's kind of statements and opinions, and really kind of synthesize, what it all means. So just allowing people to have a voice and put it there to get politically engaged. So that was we just did that last week. So we got a whole ton of feedback that we're all still kind of incorporating. And then the next slide so we kind of brought people in with big donuts, and we got a banner there too now. Every time someone walks in, they can learn more, they can volunteer. So the next steps is really just continue the research to refine those indicators, and at least have a lot of community input into showing them off so we can finalize it. And that's what we're really marching towards now. So with that, I will pass to Lisa.
Thank you, Kyle. So for the San Jose Donut, we have been working on it for about a year and a half now. And we spent 1 year doing research. We had a team of about 24 that contributed. We met about every other week, and we had 3 community events where we had volunteer efforts, and we tried to do something to help the community. And then we had some sort of a festival and shared food together. We presented to various organizations, including our climate department and neighborhood groups. We had a book club, which was, we had members from throughout the country, and we went through Kate Rayworth's book. Each meeting we focused on one chapter. We partnered with a lot of organizations. So in San Jose, we have a lot of organizations that are focusing on important work that needs to be done. So we found them really good partners. And a PBS show featured part of our work. And we interviewed experts both with lived experience as well as school experience, and read a lot of books and articles and videos, and considered quite a few indicators. On the right, you can see we have a lot of red in our donut. And what we decided to be kind of low tech. We have a tech expert on our team who is weary of too much tech. And I guess that resonated with me as well and other members. And we really wanted to balance the quantitative data with the qualitative data, and that being people's stories, gathering our stories. We have a very diverse community in San Jose, and oftentimes the data doesn't cover everybody. And so with story, we were hoping to expand getting the data to look at the fullness of our community. And we also recognize that stories are really what stay with us when the data it's hard to take in all of the data. The data is very important because that helps us to understand where we need to focus, but the stories help us to make sense of the data. So that was really important to us. And as we are expanding on our donut snapshot, we find that it's very important for us to focus on our history. So we're looking for our through line. How did we get to where we are now? And what is our origin story? And using both that origin story and through line to tell us how we can expand our common good, which is kind of what we're targeting with the indicators that we looked at. And next year, San Jose will be celebrating its 250th birthday, and we're hoping to use the research that we're doing to celebrate and emphasize the work that needs to be done through the donut. And as I mentioned earlier, we're working with partnerships. We have a lot of organizations that are representing many different aspects of our community, and that has been a really strong way for our work to kind of spread and grow. The experts that we're working with both have offered webinars. They have given us their lived experience, and they've looked at the indicators that we were considering, and they gave us their kind of perspective on what we're looking at. And kind of going along with our low tech, we drew our portrait with AutoCAD, which is the language that I speak as a landscape architect. And so over time, I think we're probably going to find some other ways to work with drawing our donut portrait, but that's what we use to create our donut. And as we completed our work and we looked at our donut, what came out very strongly to us was income inequality. That was like a huge story that came out of the work that we did. And for those of you who are not familiar with the Gini coefficient, I'll just quickly go over. It measures where the wealth is distributed within a community. 0 meaning it's distributed completely equally throughout the community, and 100 would mean that it's just held within the house, within one household. And so in 1990, we were at a Gini coefficient of 38. And we used a target of 30, which doing some research on a healthy Gini coefficient target was Japan was a pretty good example at about 30. So we used that. Currently, we found that we're at 81. And that is a huge jump from 38 to 81 from 1990 to the present. And so not only is it a huge income inequality, it's over a very short amount of time. And this really reduces social cohesion, stifles economic vitality, and reduces common good. So when we found that, when we looked at where we have the most red in our donut portrait, we decided to, okay, our next stage is now we're going to begin the work. And to determine how to do the work, we used a systems theory approach, and it was based on Donella Meadows' 3 parts of a system and kind of analyzing a system. And so we were continuously kind of revisiting what is the purpose of a community, what is the purpose of a city, and our city in particular. And we kind of settled that we want to achieve common good, and common good was what we equated our targets to. And then we looked at the elements of our community, and among other things, we looked at the elements of the embedded economy, existing organizations, and social capital, other aspects as well. And then we looked at the interconnections of all of these elements, and that affects the shifts in our stocks, and the stocks being the stock that we want to achieve common good. So how do the interconnections of these different elements help to increase our common good? With that approach, we then developed a theory of change, which we called the CARE theory of change. And so we were using the donut itself and the report that we're now working on to serve as a compass for us. And that would guide our actions as we're re-envisioning economic systems, and then educating and empowering others about this re-envisioned perspective on economic systems. And then based on that theory of change, where we saw the greatest red in our donut portrait, what capacities our team members had, and what opportunities in our community, we developed our initiatives for the second year of our work. And so first of all, we're working on the report for Doughnut Economics to kind of go further in depth on the data that we found. San Jose is currently undergoing the general plan review, which it does every 4 years. And this is a real effective way to give input and affect change in our community. So we're going to be giving input and write a letter to the planners for the general plan input. We're meeting with local officials. We are currently developing a curriculum, which we're calling the Common Good Curriculum, and it's based on the UN Sustainable Development Goals is a big part of that. One of our team members is a teacher, and we're going to be starting out with her class in a underrepresented community. We have also partnered with our climate department and a climate adaptation practitioner to apply for a grant to create a climate adaptation and resilience action for downtown San Jose. We are currently building our first community food forest, and with hopes that this will be the first of a series that form green corridors throughout our city. And we are starting out in neighborhoods that are food deserts, which we have quite a few in our community. And after working for a year and a half, mostly volunteer, we find that we're getting some burnout. We're finding it hard to juggle and balance with the work that we're doing. So we have begun applying for grants this year until we're able to find solutions with alternative economies moving into that space. We're using grants and donations to help to support our work. So this year we're starting to apply for grants. So our invitation to you, Amelia will share that.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, our invitation is just to, if this speaks to you and you want to get involved, there are so many ways to get involved. You can follow and support our work on social media. That would be like the lowest degree of engagement. But if you're just curious and want to stay updated on what we're working on, those are good places to stay up to date, as well as signing up for our newsletter on our website. Also encourage you again to go to our website and just poke around and see what we have on there. There's a lot of different ways to get involved through the website. We have a blog, which people can contribute to. And then we also have one of our members, Della, has her Upstream podcast. Would highly recommend listening to that. And then if you're interested in either joining or forming a group, you can reach out to us. There's a page on our website called Regional, and there you can sign up to join a specific group, or you can contact us about starting a new one if your city or region is not represented on that page, and someone will be in touch with you about next steps. Thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you so much. That was a real good education for all of us about what is involved in building the donut in a real community. So thank you, and 3 real communities. That was really helpful. Thank you. I just want to touch on quickly. Thank you for referencing the commons as a key pillar, and I love that concept and think about it a lot. Is there anything more you can share about the curriculum that you're planning around that with like, I assume, local schools, or can you just touch on that very briefly before we go to other questions?
Sure.
Yep. The curriculum.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just having a hard time unmuting. Yeah, so we're starting out working with a classroom that has an environmental science studies class, and we're going to introduce doughnut economics to them, and then show how that kind of relates to the work that they're doing, and hopefully empower them to be able to start an initiative themselves, do some civics education, and bring a project to life in their community. But we're also wanting to offer it workshops at a local farm and other ways as well.
Fantastic. Thank you. I know San Jose is more further along, or has spent more time working on it. And you're talking about, as part of your 2026 plan, meeting with elected officials. And I'm just curious around policy and government, how are there specific departments within city government that you recommend to them should be involved in helping to implement the donut effectively? Or what would be your recommendation for the departments that are most likely to be improved through the donut, or be more impactful to the donut?
I'm finding that our biggest partnerships are forming with the climate department. They have been really excited about our work, and they've been impacted a lot by budget cuts. So they are happy to partner with us when we can help to support their work. And our planning departments are also very excited about the work that we're doing and responsive to the input that we give. One of our experts was the planning commissioner, and he was very encouraging. And we have some council members who are thinking about alternatives to our current economic system. So they've been open to hearing about donut economics as well.
That's great news. Thank you. I'll welcome questions at this point. If you can raise your digital hand, that way we'll see you. And we'll start with Farzam. Thank you.
Yeah, that was actually great. Thank you for that presentation. There's literally so much information that I think I have to go watch the video again and so many detailed data points. My question was, it's kind of a general, is donut economics like the target audience is mostly municipalities, or is it private sector as well? Just wanted to, it's a general concept.
I'd say it's initially targeted at governments, cities, but there's a donut for business whole section too you can explore. But it's all similar concepts: triple bottom line, holistic well-being economy, sustainable development goals. It's all similar language.
I definitely agree. I see the donut as more of a civic participation tool in a way for governments to more accurately communicate to their constituents what they're prioritizing and why, and also how the economy in that region is changing over time. If we're able to make donuts that are updated year after year with the indicators over time to actually measure impact. And, if you're looking at GDP, if you're looking at specifically like healthcare from a GDP lens, GDP is going to go up if that insurance company and that hospital is more profitable. Whereas under the donut lens, if you're looking at health, it's measuring healthcare access, right? And healthcare quality. So in that way, I think the donut is there to sort of reframe how we look at what is a successful business. Is it that it's more profitable, or is it that the outcomes are actually better for us?
And I'll just add that I agree with what you guys are saying, but I also see that there's plenty of room to do it on a community level, such as time banking, where different communities can get together and just share the skills that they can offer. Local currencies can be developed on a non-governmental level, and things like repair cafes and free markets. Those are all aspects of the donut that can be done on a community level. But I think we need to get involved with the donut on all levels.
Thank you. I think that's really helpful. Next question is from Cara. Cara, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name.
Very close. It's Kara. Thank you all so much for this presentation. This is really just, it's fascinating information and a lot to kind of wrap the head around. I'm wondering if you can kind of go back to very early in the presentation, there was a reference to degrowth. And I'm wondering if you can speak a little bit more about what's meant by that language, because I feel like, especially at the municipal level, I serve on my local city council, and you have the difference between anti-growth in terms of, this community is for us and nobody else, versus degrowth, which I understand is very different from that sort of concept. It's not talking about kind of grabbing onto resources and gatekeeping them. It's more about making sure that we're actually operating from that place of sustainability and making sure that we're being good stewards of the resources we have, not just trying to grow for the sake of economic growth. So do I have that right? And if not, or if so, can you just kind of expound on that general concept? That would be wonderful.
Sure. Thank you, Kara. I would say that donut economics is more growth agnostic. So doesn't necessarily take a position on growing or not growing, but more just focused on thriving. And it takes the perspective that we shouldn't measure our success or quality on growth specifically. It should be more focused on human thriving and a lot of the other things you said, like sustainability and circular economies.
Yeah, and I think that's reflected in the use, I think more common now of post growth. So what do we do after we stop focusing on growth so much? What is post growth? And so a really interesting set of concepts there. I thank you for that question because that was, yeah, very interesting. All right, I'm gonna actually just I really liked the questioning around the business aspect and how do we get independent local businesses to be a part of the movement. I know Wellbeing Economy Alliance California has an emerging business initiative headed by Lauren. And so I just wondering if Lauren is able to just talk about like when's the next opportunity to get involved in that and to hear more about the Wellbeing Economy Alliance business initiative. Lauren?
Sure. Thanks, Kirsten. Hi, everyone. Yeah, so we are working, so similar to the donut business, like the donut economics for business tools, we're trying to also just provide all the tools for business owners that they might not know is out there in this, as Kirsten said, post-growth world, well-being world. And so, yeah, we have a working group that meets every other week. And then you can also join our regular Real California meetings. But if you're interested, definitely reach out to me. We're very aligned with the donut. Yes.
Great. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Lisa, Kyle, and Amelia, for all of your great knowledge and sharing what you've learned over the course of your progress. And we can't wait to see how it evolves and continues to grow in these 3 cities and hopefully more. So CalDEC is an amazing resource. Please visit the website and reach out to these cities if you have questions regarding what they're doing specifically. And just thank you all for your time and wonderful sharing today.